Yo, 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 everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. How we doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Kill Zone. It is episode what episode is this night? Is this episode like 3 or 4?
Let's see. One, two, three, four. This might be five.
Wow. Okay. See, I can't count,
Yeah.
so thank you for the help. I appreciate it. I'm joined here with my excellent friend, the Night Watch Zone. How are you doing today?
Like I said, man, I'm ready to rock. This was a really cool. That's how it usually happens with us. It's like any of us that have done these streams together. It's like, okay, so what are we gonna talk about? And then someone throws out something, and then the other person will build upon it, and next thing you know, it's morphed into something that is usually pretty damn cool.
Oh yeah. I love talking about weirder movies too, because I feel like sometimes we get into a loop of just there we go, had to mute myself, sorry. Sometimes we get into a loop of talking about the same old same old. Sometimes we just talk about the very popular movies we love. Today we are here to talk about some of the very weird movies that we love that maybe are a little more unsavory, that maybe some other folks may not love all too much. But I'm excited. We both have 5 movies. We don't know what the other person's 5 are. I have them on this little post-it note right here. I'm ready to go with some a little tiny notes. I lost my notebook night, so I just have this little post-it. So I'm writing real small, but I'm gonna try.
Right.
Maybe if my bifocals are working this afternoon, I'll be able to read everything I wrote down. But definitely excited to get into it, my friend.
Yeah.
But as always, the chat is encouraged to throw out some of your favorite movies that are maybe considered guilty pleasures, maybe movies that the rest of the public aren't as crazy about, and that's totally okay because we all love horror movies around here, and sometimes we even like the weird ones. So
Yes. Hell yeah.
so Mr. Knight, I'll let you go first. I'm curious what's first on your list.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna let the cat out of the bag because I kind of showed my cards way too early. I've got the shirt on right now.
There we
There
go.
we go.
Love it. Love it.
A little gem directed by Don Coscarelli called Phantasm, which a lot of people just don't know about. They might have heard it or something like that, but they just don't really know about Phantasm. And it's actually a franchise. We got 5 films in that franchise. And the main villain, obviously, on my shirt, you can see him, the tall man.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Um, Played by the late
Boy.
great, yeah, boy. I'm telling you, just thinking about it gets me bro. I would watch this movie right now. If you said, "Hey, we're gonna put on Phantasm, you want to do it?" I'd be like, "Yeah,"
Oh yeah.
I'd be ready to watch it. But the late great Angus Scrimm, he played the tall man who was the main villain of the franchise. And the thing that really speaks to me, I mean, I'm talking about the first film, but the first film was just such a cult thing, and it grew into a franchise of 5 films over multiple decades. And Angus Scrimm was, in all of them, even the 5th film, he passed away shortly after filming that. So, I just like the longevity of the franchise. But the first film, it's just like a fever dream. It's crazy. It doesn't really make a lot of logical sense, but it's so stylized and so charming. You know how some movies just win you over with so much charm?
Yeah.
And this is a film that has a lot of that in spades. The soundtrack is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's one of those things when I first saw it as a kid, it was one of those soundtracks that really kind of scared me. We're talking about 1979. So it's just got great imagination. And even to this day, I think it's still a very unique horror film. And I really love it. I truly do. And I joke about it with one of our good friends who is a big viewer of all of our channels, Jason Dyer. He loves Phantasm. I mean, he talks about it all the time. Let's watch Phantasm. It's the best, this and that. And I'm like, yeah, it is really good. I love it. And I just wish that more people could see the greatness in it, even though it is an older film. But then again, Halloween's an old film, 1978. This is actually 1 year after Halloween. But it's fantastic. If you've never seen Phantasm, and you got 90 95 minutes, 100 minutes or whatever free, watch it and just kind of kick back and relax. And I think it's such a cool ride that it takes you on. These characters are so much fun, and it's just different. It really is.
It is very different. It's an odd film, and I my one negative, and I'll just get this out of the way, is I
Hmm.
do feel like it's a little inconsequential. Like, I think you were kind of saying that it's
Hmm.
like almost barely makes sense. But
Yeah.
I think the thing about this movie that I love so much is there are some genuinely striking visuals that still stay in my mind. There's a dream sequence in this movie in particular that just like anytime I think of like a crazy, dreamy visuals, it comes to mind. I
Hmm.
love the idea of the flying ball that just goes
Yep.
through and rips into people's faces. I mean, it's an insane idea. I love
Mhm.
so many things about this movie. If you're looking for like a weird idea for a horror film, you have to watch Phantasm. I mean, it is such a
Yeah.
great place to start, I think.
Yeah.
Sandbox for just bizarre ideas and
It
visuals.
it really is, man. I mean, who can think of this metallic ball that just flies around? It just like drones around, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, it's a ball. A spike comes out of it, a blade or whatever, and it goes to the person's head. It drills into their forehead, and then blood, shoots out the other end. This is crazy shit for 1979,
Oh yeah.
and you're right. The visuals are so striking. Again, these guys, Don Coscarelli and the crew, they had like $25 to make this movie, and they stretched it as far as as far as they could go. No, but I'm just saying they didn't have a lot of money, and this is way before CGI. And I really think they did some fantastic things. Like for instance, with the tall man, Angus Scrimm was a very talented actor, stage actor, used to doing Shakespeare and all this type of stuff. And he gets called in by his agent to do this film and to do this character, the tall man. And he's thinking, oh, okay, well, what's his background? What does he do? This, and that. And come to find out, he doesn't have a lot of lines, but the presence, the way he walks, the way, way he
Mhm.
moves, and when he does talk, you have to have that charisma and command. And he was a tall guy, but in the movie, to make him quote unquote taller, he wore platforms, and the suit that he wore, they made it like smaller in size. So it looked like he was, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just
Yeah.
like, I love that. I mean, you're a filmmaker. That's grassroots shit. I love it. And I think that's why it got a cult following.
Well, it's little tiny things like that that make a film. I mean, it really is. I mean, you can have a great idea, but if you don't execute it in an interesting way, I
Yep.
mean, who cares? That's what is excellent about this movie in so many different ways is that the story may be lacking, but the ideas, the visuals, there's character moments that I think are just really iconic, although there are some that are very cheesy at the same time. There's a lot of hits
Yep.
and misses across this entire film, but the hits
Hmm.
are so worth your time. And it's the same thing with the sequels. Like there's
Yes.
even crazier ideas when we get into some of these. Phantasm 3 is a favorite of mine. I really like Phantasm 3.
Yes.
2 is probably I think objectively the best. Hot take. But I
Hmm.
think 3 has got some crazy characters and just fight scenes and shit. It's outrageous. But
Yeah.
I love this whole franchise, and I think it's
Mm.
so one that if you want to get into some weirder, deeper cuts, definitely a great one to try out. So,
Yes.
I do want to say some movies have come in from our viewers here. Big blanket hello to everybody hanging out with us, by the way, tonight. Really appreciate you guys for stopping by. Dave Sim is saying Urban Legends. That's a great choice. Love that.
Ooh, yeah.
Um,
Nice.
we also got Erica reminding everybody if you're not following the Night Watch Zone, make sure to do that. Let's make that happen. Come on now. Night, you're at 32,000 subs. Like you're almost at 33, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Let's go, baby. Let's get him to
Just
33K, baby.
just walking the mile, walking the mile,
I feel it. I feel it, man.
Yes.
I'm gonna get to Davey Death Ray's chat in a second here because Davey. Take a pause on that real quick because we may be in agreement on some interesting things there. Jack Mehoff is saying The Void is a good scary movie. It's in the same ballpark as Splinter and The Last Shift. Oh my God, 3 movies that I think are criminally underrated. If you haven't seen any of those, wow,
Yeah.
some
The
great
Void.
choices there.
The Void is absolutely bonkers crazy. I had a buddy. who is also a content creator, and one day he was in our chats and he was just saying, "Bro, you got to watch The Void. I know you love, like The Thing and this and that and Lovecraft stuff and all that." And I was like, "Okay, I'll check it out." And I actually, just as a quick side note, I actually was talking to Steven and he says, "Hey, Knight, let's just do a, private watch party." Cause he was just kind of bored and I was bored. I was like, yeah, cool, man. He's like, "I'll let you pick the movie." I said, "Are you sure about that, bro?" He's like, "Yeah."
Oh man.
So I said, "Well, me and Coriander, we haven't seen The Void and I've been told it was good. I heard that, if you're a fan of The Thing, you should check this thing out." And he said, "Oh yeah, I like The Thing." I was like, "Okay, let's watch it." So we went in blind, bro. Bro, you gotta look. He was the best, man, because he was like, "Well, it was definitely interesting and it was different." He's like, "But wow, they really went into some places." I'm like, "Right?" But
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Oh my God, the ending of that one is outrageous. Like, if you want
Yeah,
to, I don't want to call it a slow burn, but it is definitely one that I feel like builds. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, that final visual and where this movie ultimately leads to, I think is just like, it's so worth your time if some of the
hmm
things in the middle or the beginning don't work for you. But I think it has a really intriguing start that grips you. Like, there's a really
yes,
crazy thing that happens in the first 5 minutes, and you're just like, what? Like,
yeah,
what is happening here? It's a great way to build intrigue right off the bat. So,
agreed.
Void, it's a great watch. I'm glad to hear that Steven liked it. I honestly didn't know he'd ever. He seemed more like a slasher guy to me. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah,
I didn't think he would be interested in that.
yeah. Because I just took a shot because I was like, "Okay, let's check it out." I knew it was out there. I did know that because my buddy said this is why you should watch it and blah blah blah. But I didn't know anything specific. And yeah, Steven said, "Yeah, that was definitely interesting. I had fun watching it." And of course, when you're watching it with people too, you get into a vibe. You know what I'm saying? So it was fun. There were moments where all of us were like, "Whoa, oh, whoa, okay." I love that type of a film. I really do.
The creature effects too are top notch. Like, if you want some good creatures, man, ooh, yeah, the
Yes.
Void totally rocks. One quick side tangent, and Jen, we will get to your super chat. I greatly appreciate your support. One time I'm remembering, so I'm having all these memories of being on stream with Steven this past
Mhm.
week. Erica sent me a clip from specifically the Stu Macher court case one.
Yes.
And I forgot about this, and I wanted to bring it up with you because I had dude, this totally slipped my mind, and I got sent the clip this past week, and I'm like, this is one of the best clips from a stream that we all did, like, maybe ever. Do you remember when somebody super chatted over on Steven's page, and the person's name was Queef?
Yeah. Yes.
And Steven, that innocent soul who we miss so dearly, did not know what that was.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we and dude, I'm losing my shit, like just cracking up, and everybody else just starts following suit. And oh my
Yes.
God, it was just it's an outrageous moment from a very, very iconic stream. And
It
oh my
really
God.
was. What's funny too, as a quick aside to that. So Erica had talked about that moment, and I was remembering myself. And last night I was on Gory B Movies stream, and she had referenced the trial as well. And in my mind, I was this close to saying it, but you remember when someone was saying something and something, and it was moist and something like that, and that word was triggering her, and
Yeah.
she kept rolling with it, and people would just keep saying it. All of us would just keep saying it. I was so tempted to say it live, but I said no, I'll let her, because I think she said she wants to rewatch it just to relive the memories and stuff. Oh my God, man, that was such a funny night. It was
I
so great.
I felt bad. I thought she was like actually kind of mad at us at a certain point. Like, she was like, please stop saying that word. Like, it actually, like, it hurts my soul to hear it, you know?
Well, I'll tell you what, if she was, then I feel kind of bad, but she's so awesome that I
She is
think
so awesome.
I thought she was just kind of playing into it a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was hilarious though. Oh my God. It
Oh,
was hilarious.
that's one of the funniest streams I've ever been a part of. Like, it was
Yep.
just it was such an honor to be able to do that.
Yep. I
Um,
agree.
Jen, thank you for the 5 though, my friend. Really appreciate you a ton. Saying Phantasm was one of Mike's favorites. I never saw the appeal. Was never crazy about that one.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly not for everybody though. I will say
No.
it's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
I don't even like I don't even know what I could compare it to say like, oh, if you like this, you'll like that.
Yeah, there's not much I could think of to compare it to either. It's just one of those movies that it just takes you on a ride. And even now, as an adult, I saw it as a kid. Even now, as an adult, when I put it on, I truly feel like I'm like transported into this world. And it's the movie was made in '79, so there's that older aesthetic too from back in the day. And me personally, I just love it. I truly do.
Oh yeah, no, it's a major banger. But yeah, again, acquired taste. Give it a try. If you don't
Mhm.
like it, that's totally understandable. It's weird. It's out there. But it's certainly one that I feel like if you're trying to get into the weeds of weirder stuff, like totally try it out. You might love it. You might actually like secretly fall in love with this film, which would be really cool.
Mhm.
Jen, thank you so much for the 5. I really appreciate your support of the page. We also have Oliver throwing out his top 5. I think this is just his top 5 movies here. We got Saw, Saw X, Cube, Insidious, and Scream.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
There's some killer choices right there. Cube is an underrated one. I feel like that's a
Isn't
movie people don't know about that really rocks.
Man, I remember the first time I saw that. Had no idea what it was. I just heard the name and I was like, I gotta check this out. And it's one of those movies that it surprises the hell out of you. And I really dug it. But it was like one of those, like, I felt like I was underground. You know what I mean? I'm watching this
Yeah.
movie that I'd never heard any of my friends talk about or anything. And it was one of those movies that just kind of intrigued me. Yeah, it's a deep cut.
That if you like Saw, you'll also love Cube. So I can
Mhm.
see why I can see why Oliver here really likes that one. It's like a very early. I don't want to say it's a prototype of Saw. That's not what I want to say. But like without Cube, I don't know if Saw could have happened the way that it did. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like it's got
Yep.
so much of that same energy to it, but a lot more 90s. And yeah, it's a must watch. It's a really interesting story too. A great character study, I think, as
Yeah.
well, on top of having some really gory and crazy moments. But it's
Yep.
just people trapped inside of a cube and they're trying to get out.
Yep.
It's as simple as that.
That's all it is, man. And simplicity sometimes is the best thing. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah. Oh, this movie really blew my mind the first time I saw it. Oliver, some great choices here, my friend. Thank you for being a member for half a year. Freaking awesome, Oliver.
Woohoo.
Is that the Space Needle in your profile picture too? I'm just curious. It
It
doesn't look
looks-
wide enough.
Yeah, it's kind of, that's a good question.
I see this profile picture a lot from Mr. Oliver, and I'm just curious. I'm curious what that is in there. Anyways, sorry, train of thought all over the place. Appreciate your support, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Legion has been a member for 9 months. Keep up the live stream, Jake. So much love, Legion. Thank you for the support. Thank you for being a member. We greatly appreciate you.
Heck yeah.
And Ashley's been Ashley's been a member for 2 years. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you for the support. Really appreciate that. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks for talking about maybe 5 horror films that you love that other people don't.
Hmm. Sometimes you just got to be honest, and throw it out there.
And right after this, I want to throw out my first pick because I'm so excited. Somebody else in the chat has already said this was a movie that they love, and I'm like, let's go, baby. Erica, thank you for the 5. Greatly appreciate that as well. Saying, did everyone hit that like button? If not, you better go do it or else. Erica will bite off all of your fingers if you don't. So I highly recommend just doing it. Just get it out of the way so you don't lose any fingers. So much love, Erica. I hope you're not having a belly full of fingers tonight. So, thank you for the 5. Thank you for the 5. Thank you for modding. Oh, and especially thank you for sending me that clip. I can't tell you how happy that made me earlier this week. We have Oliver also giving us a response here. It's the CN Tower in Toronto. Okay, it's not. It didn't look wide enough to be the Space Needle. So rock on. Very good stuff. Oliver, thank you for the $2. Thank you, my friend. Okay, but finally, I want to hear your opinion, your take on this, because I think we've talked about this movie before, Knight, but I can't remember what your stance was on it. Okay. My first one, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Hot take. I know.
All right, so
I love white horses. They get me going.
Listen, let me look. You're messing with me, man. So
I'm,
look,
I'm so not, dude. I love this movie.
all right. So look, all right. I'll just say my piece real quick, and then I can let you, take the train from here. Over the years, I have come to appreciate a lot of things about this film. I saw it in the theater. I saw both of the zombie films in the theater, and me and my brother together. So there's that special. Look at this. There's that special, thing that we've got. Um, I appreciate the swing. I do. But as a Halloween fan, there were some things that I was just like, well, wait a minute, man. We're really, dude, we're going in a different direction here. That's it's weirding me out a little bit, bro. Um, but interestingly enough, especially over the last several months, because we have a few people even here. Look, Barb saying, all right, night. I know, Barb. I know you love it. And we had a stream where it was kind of like a somewhat of a debate with her and my buddy Eric. I will say this. I like a lot of elements to it. And I think Scout had a fantastic performance. Danielle Harris and especially Brad Dourif. That might be some of the most emotional moments in the franchise, when he gets to the bathroom and he sees Annie. And so I give it all that credit. But the Halloween side of me, the Halloween fan inside of me always has to look at it and say, man, there are just some things that I don't think work as well as a Halloween fan. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like how Jason Goes to Hell. And some people really love it, like my buddy Eric. Jason Goes to Hell has some great moments, and it's great body, practical effects, some good kills, and so forth. But I don't think it's a great Friday the 13th film, so that's just kind of my stance. I don't want to take up the time on it, but tell me why you love this film.
I love it because I see it more as a Rob Zombie film rather than a Halloween film. I think that's where that's where I sit with it. Because, dude, first time I watched it, that was my takeaway too. I'm like, this is an awful Halloween film. It is, and I still stand by that. I think it's a terrible Halloween film, but I think it's a really interesting Rob Zombie film. That's kind of why I'm starting to vibe with it a little more as time has gone on. The more that I watch these two Rob Zombie Halloween flicks, the less I like the first one and the more I like the sequel. Like every time I come back to the first one, I find something else I'm just not crazy about with it. But two, it feels like they were just able to let Rob Zombie do more of his own thing. And I think that's why I vibe with it just a little more. Because I really like the Firefly trilogy. Maybe not so much the third one, but the first two I think are like phenomenal horror films that just have like these really unique vibe, very Texas Chainsaw Massacre inspired, but of course just with Rob Zombie's own blend of seasonings, which again, a thing that is just not for everybody. But when he's on, dude, he's on. Like when he's got something that he's like cooking with, he's cooking something up that's really special, really spicy. And I think what I like about this film especially is what you were talking about with Brad Dourif. Like, I mean, there's so many more emotional performances here. I care about the characters this time, where not everybody is like just a blatant butthole like how they are in the first one.
I know. William Forsythe.
I'm just like, I can't stand the characters. Like if Michael's not on screen killing people, I'm just like, who cares?
Right.
But there's a lot I think that you can love about that if you're into the Rob Zombie flavor. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things here, a lot of things present that work that maybe don't in in the first Halloween. Because I think it's not trying to be a Halloween film. It's trying to be something else entirely. It's a different animal. That's why I can vibe with it. That's why I'm kind of like, okay, this is kind of cool. I would even go so far as to say, and maybe this is crazy, a hot take, it's one of my favorite Rob Zombie films. Like it might be number 3 in his catalog for me. Although I really do love I'm forgetting the name of it now.
Devil's Rejects? House of a Thousand Corpses?
Those two are like 1 and 2 forever. I'm trying to remember the other one he made that's like The Game. Like it's like a game, like a bunch of killers 31? Are coming after him. 31, yeah. I don't know. I kept thinking X in my head, and I'm like, that's the Ty West film. I don't know why I'm thinking that. I'm like, that's not right. But 31 totally rocked as well. So that might be that
Yeah.
actually might be my third favorite. But side tangent over. I really like this film. I vibe with it as a Rob Zombie movie, but I agree. If we're ranking Halloween films, it's towards the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I mean, the good news, at least for me as a film fan, especially um, as a YouTuber, is I try to look at films through a lens that is much more broad. You know what I'm saying? Like some people, it's basically, did I like it this time or not? And that's how I am forever, and that's fine, because everyone can make their choices. But for me, I'll go back and watch a movie and see if it hits me different. Because I've had that happen to me many, many times. When I first saw Season of the Witch, I was just like, screw this fucking movie. What are you talking about? I was a disappointed little kid. And it was years before I even watched it again because I just said, oh, let me just do it. I've watched every other Halloween film and I loved it. And I still love it, So it's just interesting. But yeah, Halloween 2, he took some swings. He wanted to do something different. And I appreciate that. But I just think that there were elements of it that I just can't get over. Like, and I love Malcolm McDowell. He was a good Loomis, in my opinion, in the first film. In the second one, I know what Rob Zombie was aiming for. You know what I'm saying? He was basically aiming for that type of character that just loses his soul in fame and money. And I get that. But to me, some of the magic, or a big part of the magic of the films, especially when you have Loomis in a Halloween film, is he's Van Helsing and Michael is Dracula.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so now
Yeah.
that Loomis is an asshole until there's 3 minutes left in the movie, it's like, well, I don't care about him. And it was off balance because Laurie is traumatized. So you're just, kind of on her journey, which is batshit crazy. So I felt like you got Michael, who, there's some great kills. Tyler Maine's great. I was a little irritated with the mask thing, but anyway, that's another story. But I felt unbalanced because Laurie is kind of doing her thing. So I want to root for somebody. I'm not saying that he had to be on the hunt the whole time, like Loomis, like Donald was. But, maybe he does get wrapped up in fame a little bit, but maybe he changes and has that arc sooner in the film so that, yeah, now I can get behind him. And when he wants to save Laurie, it makes sense to me more than it did how it played out. So, those are just, a couple of the little things that's just like, I wish he had changed his dynamic of his choice of what he was doing. But it is what it is, and it's definitely interesting.
It's oddly one of the things I do like about the film because I feel like now that everyone isn't a total, jackass in the flick, we can kind of focus on a central jackass who goes through that arc with Malcolm McDowell's character. And
Yep.
again, if you're watching it expecting, OG Loomis, you're going to be crazy disappointed. But as a Rob
Sure.
Zombie, as a character in a Rob Zombie movie, I think it works for me. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it's one of those things where I think if you can separate it in your mind, which like that's tough to do because it's part of the Halloween franchise. Like you shouldn't have to do that to enjoy a film. But at the
Right.
same time, I feel like if you just watch that as a Rob Zombie movie, it could work. And I think that's kind of why I vibe with it. That's why I'm kind of like, okay, this is an interesting route to take Loomis. It's a totally different interpretation.
Yeah.
I would go so far as to say like a Halloween Ends, like that's how far away we are getting from the source material at this point. Like it
Yep.
is out there, but it's an out there idea that I think kind of works for me in some places. It is not a perfect film by any means. Donald Pleasance, who the chat is reminding us of, will always be the best Loomis. I totally agree.
Mm.
But in terms of what else can we do with this same idea? Where else can we take it? This
Yeah.
is a swing at that, and I weirdly appreciate it. Again,
Mhm.
not I wouldn't even if we were just rating all these movies just based on quality, you know what I mean? I don't even think
Yeah.
I'd put this in my top five. But it
Mhm.
is an interesting film, and I just appreciate it for the weird little gem that it is, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But certainly, but just like Halloween Ends, I feel the same way about that film. Like, just it's not
Yes.
for everybody. You know what I mean? It's a weird. We're taking this idea and we're gonna try to do something fucking crazy. We're gonna go for the home run, and maybe that misses with some people.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, and that's the give and the take of a longstanding franchise. It's like you start to get this lane that gets so narrow and people expect certain things. It's just like when we talk about Scream 7. I mean, like there are certain things that people want out of that film, um, but yet there are a lot of long-term fans who do want something fresh or fresher. You know what I'm saying? So like how do
Right.
you balance that? You know, you want the film to feel like a Scream film, but yet you don't want to see just, you know, a somewhat different version of something that we've already seen in four other movies, you know, speaking specifically about, you know, Sydney's character, you know. So it's tough, and for franchises that continue to thrive, to exist and thrive, like Scream and like Halloween, I take my hats off to them, because it's like you guys are truly working some magic to be able to stay relevant for 25, 30, almost 50 years, you know, for Halloween. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And one last point to that I also want to make, because I think you said something really interesting there about, you know, Scream is a franchise that, like, we're always trying to find something new with it, but also I think there's fans that just kind of want the same feeling thing every single time.
Mhm.
I think that's kind of why I can get into something like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 and not Halloween Ends. I don't feel like David Gordon Green has like a style. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like if you watch his
Yeah.
other movies, he's done a lot of like dramas and stoner comedies, and then here he is doing like weird slasher films. Like there's
Yeah.
no consistent style across these movies that's like the main attraction. I think
Mhm.
that's kind of the big thing I love about Zombie's second Halloween flick, because it's like there some of the plot beats and all that may not be totally perfect, but I can kind of get into his whole hellbilly vibe that I when it's on, you know?
Yeah.
And I think if Halloween Ends was approached with a really unique style from like
Mhm.
a filmmaker similar to Rob Zombie, like let's say like Joe Bagos, just for example, I
Mhm.
could probably get into that movie a little more. But it's because it was
Yeah.
approached in like, I mean, it to me, Halloween Ends is the equivalent of like a chicken breast that has just been seasoned with salt and pepper. You know what I mean? Like it's like
I like
here's this crazy idea that we're not going to put any sort of seasoning or extra flavor to. That movie needed to be even crazier than it was. It was just way too in line with the same tone as the previous two flicks. And like you're going weird. Like this is a bizarre idea for this franchise, something that really hasn't been approached before. Maybe, you know, Halloween 6, you can argue it's similar to that, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty incomparable. I would have liked somebody like a Rob Zombie to tackle that kind of movie. Maybe a different
Yeah.
director could have handled that idea and made it something truly, you know, something to talk about, I guess is my point.
Yeah, because, you know, again, Rob, his style is just so distinct, and he really hits you with it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I mean, you think about, I mean, all of his films, and I love almost, well, pretty much all of his films. The only film I haven't really I think that I haven't seen is The Munsters. Um, and
You're
that's
not missing
why.
much.
And that's why, you know. Um it's crazy. But you know, all of his other films, I think there's some great style in there. You can see that he's got this way that when you watch it, you know that's him putting it in there, and you know that he's a very passionate filmmaker. You know, he lives and breathes horror. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Oh
he's like an
yeah.
Eli Roth. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? These
Yeah.
guys, you know, if they could, they'd be right here, right now, geeking out with us, because that's the type of horror fans that they've been for their whole lives. So I agree with you. If someone like Rob had taken that odd idea and wrapped it around in his style and kind of punched it through, it definitely could have had a better reception, you know. And so I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah, yeah. But listen. If I talk about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 anymore, we'll be here all night. So let's get to Kelly here just real quick. Member for a month. Thank you for the support, Kelly. You're saying happy Friday Eve, everyone. It's Friday tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Start of the weekend. Let's freaking go.
Right.
Happy to be part of this community. Thanks for having me. We keep killing it out there. Love you, Kelly. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're so glad you're part of the community.
Hell yeah.
And also, you might have already done this, but I'm just bad at looking at the chat. So let me know if you have a movie that you feel like you just love. It's this like just hidden gem that everyone else hates. Let us know down in the chat. And real quick, I also have to say, Jordan Curley, this is another great one. House of Wax.
Ooh, hell yeah.
criminally underrated.
Yes, it is, man. I really dig the vibes in it. I think it's awesome. Right from the beginning, first time I saw it, I was like, all right, I dig this. And, I just never really heard a lot of people talk about it or give it its props. I mean, and I include myself in that. I mean, we had it as an episode once on Slasher Movie Club, and it was so much fun to have revisited it and talk about it. But like there were crickets in the audience there, and like there was like three people who were like, yeah, it's great. I was like, I think it's really good.
The ending of this movie is terrifying. Like I think I will admit, I think the characters are a little kind of, maybe a little abrasive at times, but man, when you get into the back half of this, there is some genuinely terrifying sequences. Like, oh my
Yep.
God. Ugh.
Yep.
The dude's
Mhm.
face, like with the melted wax on it, and we're peeling
Yeah.
off the skin. Ugh, man,
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
Okay, but I want to hear about your second pick here.
Okay. Well, the second pick that I think I'm gonna talk about, because I actually had like 11 that I listed, but the second one that I want to talk about is one that has always kind of been divisive. There are some people that love it as a cult classic film type of thing, and there's others. There's like, what the hell were they thinking? I'm gonna go with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Ooh, hell yeah, dude.
Um,
Okay.
I mean, look, yes, it's bonkers friggin' crazy. Yes, it almost shares no DNA with the original classic, except for, the names of the characters. Like it's so different. You got Leatherface that is basically twerking with a chainsaw because he sees the beautiful Stretch. And she's yelling and this and that, and Toby Hooper is just laughing his ass off as he's directing this film. But it has this vibe. Chop Top, that's right, man. The
Oh
great
yeah.
Bill Moseley, um, who got that part because he sent in basically a demo, and he was trying out for Saturday Night Live, and Toby Hooper somehow got a copy of it. Someone had said, "Hey, you got to check out this guy," and basically said, "Hey, I want him in the movie." He was making fun of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He called it, I forgot what he called it, but something different, and that's how he got the
I
job. It's
never
crazy.
knew that. No way,
Yeah.
dude.
Yep.
See,
Yep.
that's my thing that I love about this movie, though, is that it's such a rejection of what you would expect from the same guy that made the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's why I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm someone like I think Toby Hooper might be in the same headspace. I don't know, but like I don't want to make the same movie twice. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I think that was kind of the same approach with that film. It's like let's make this into a comedy. Let's just see
Yep.
what happens with it. And I think the results are amazing. People hate this movie.
Yep.
I love 1 and 2 for totally different reasons, but they both
Yep.
work for me. 2 is hilarious, but it is also kind of scary and hard to watch at times too.
Yeah, it's got
Dude,
some
that
really
opening
scary moments.
scene. I mean, oh my
Yeah.
God, the dude getting his head cut off through the car. I mean, it's like, whoa, like what
Yeah.
a crazy way to start this film off. I don't know.
Yeah, it starts right off the top, and it just doesn't really let you go. You got Dennis Hopper, who is like, talk about vigilante justice. This guy is going to a chainsaw store, and he's like freaking doing a devil dance with the chainsaws, seeing if they work against a piece of wood. And you got the store owner that's like getting all into it, like, oh my God, yeah, and it's like, what are we doing? This is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What are we doing here? But I'm here for it, bro. When I first saw it as a kid, I didn't know what to expect. I had seen the original TCM, and I'm waiting for part two. I'm like, let's keep going. It's gonna be fun. And right from the beginning, even with the music, that weird ass music, and it's like, what? And it's so crazy, but I love the aesthetic. It's like, and I know it sounds cliche because I say it a lot, but again, it's transporting me into that movie. It's transporting me into that moment. And Toby Hooper, very smart director, I think very underappreciated, by the way. I
Yeah.
think he was brilliant, and did a lot of great stuff that people don't even really recognize or know about. But he looked at TCM as a way to talk about, the working class, and how, they're downtrodden, and how they can find a way to still survive in today's world. And of course, the cannibal family, that's how they did it. They survived being cannibals and so forth. You go to TCM2, And now it's kind of talking about, the yuppies of that time, of the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Like you see in those two characters right in the beginning of the movie. And I'm just thinking to myself, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is deep like that? This is crazy stuff. But it's there. They're not beating you over the head with any of this stuff, but it's
No.
there. And it's just so cool because as a filmmaker, it just shows that he was thinking on multiple levels more than just a chainsaw cutting somebody up, you know?
Well, and I think that's the brilliance of both the original and the second Texas Chainsaw Massacre is that these are at the end of the day kind of popcorn flicks where you can have fun watching like these horrible things happen, but there is a deeper layer and a deeper meaning if you look for it.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what has gotten lost with some movies today. That you can just like kind of sit back, enjoy this. You can kind of choose the way you view it in a lot of ways. You can take different things away from the experience. One person's going to walk out having this like revelation about society. Someone else is going to walk out thinking that was like the craziest splatter flick they've ever seen. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the brilliance of those first two movies. And I think that's where so many other Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies have gone wrong. People crap on two, but like I think the ones that are basically just slasher films totally miss the point of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. I think that's why the majority of this franchise is not very good.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'm so with you on that. Two does capture that same vibe of the original, just in a totally different genre, basically.
Mhm. Yep, agreed. It's fantastic, and Caroline Williams,
Oh
was
yeah.
was great in the role of Stretch, and she talked about, especially at that time. You gotta remember, this is 1986. We're just at the tail end of the golden age of the slashers, and she talked about her role as being, the final girl and the woman who basically. I mean, she single-handedly went against the family. I mean, Dennis Hopper came in and was crazy and shit, but he didn't really have any physical confrontation until that third act. She was right there in their lair doing what she's got to do, face to face with Leatherface, using her smarts to kind of outwit him because he kind of liked her, and was kind of soft on her or whatever. But it's cool, and it's cool hearing that type of stuff from the actors from back then because, again, like you said, there was a lot of things at play that they kind of lost in the following sequels. And that's too bad because even the original, barely any blood, you don't see anyone get sawed apart, but everyone has this image in their mind of how bloody and gory the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974 was. And it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's tension, it's atmosphere, it's hot, sweaty, sticky, grimy, gritty, dirty, and that's what you get in that movie. But it's so well done, and it's like guerrilla style, and that's the flavor that grabs you. You feel like my brother says it so many times. He says, I felt like I was watching a snuff film, and it's
Yeah.
true.
It's the implication of the danger that makes it scary. It's not like, I mean, Terrifier is going to show you every piece of it. You know what I mean? But Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it should just be making you like lend itself to this awful thing that could be happening. Like you create it in your brain. It paints that picture, maybe sometimes against the viewer's will in in your brain as to what could be happening. I mean, I think the scene where like the famous scene where someone gets pulled into the fucking, into the, I can't remember the dude's name from the movie. It's been so long since I've seen it. But when he gets pulled into the room and then, slamming the door, it's just like, what the fuck's going to happen back there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of that of, just lending yourself to the mind has to kind of come up with what's about to happen. And the performances are just horrifying. I don't know if the acting is phenomenal or anything like that, but what I will say about the original, we're getting really off topic here, but is that yes, it does feel hot, sweaty in this terrifying situation that you just do not want to be in. And that is what it does maybe better than anything without even showing anything too horrific.
It's true. Like even that scene when Leatherface grabs Pam as she was trying to run out of the house, grabs her and she's screaming and flailing and everything. I mean, Gunnar Hansen talked about how he told her, he said, I'm gonna really grab you and hold you. I want you to just go crazy. She's like, yeah, do it. I mean, they were really going at it in this film. No stunt doubles. And when they go to the scene where he's about to put her on that hook, like you don't see it, but because they were so physical and it was gritty, you imagine it and you compare that to the remake from '03, which I do like. Matter of fact, I love it. But that scene when I forgot the guy's name, the blonde-haired guy, when he gets put on the hook, and they show more of that, like it was kind of like a side view where you actually see him go on it, and they even you can kind of see his back a little bit. Not as effective.
No, no,
Not as effective.
but it is because of I think I blame that on the difference in time periods because 70s was all about the psychological, putting the image in your brain. The
Yeah.
2000s was all about just showing it to you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This is like this is the era of Saw. This is the era of Hostel. Yeah. Yes. Oh my God, we said it the same. That's crazy. But dude, 100%. It's just the different eras, and I think that's why me and Tarantino we're in the same boat with just the 70s is one of the best times for horror, man. It was all about like putting something terrifying into the brain of the viewer, not necessarily showing it on screen. I mean, sometimes yes, but it was more about making the viewer at home uncomfortable and terrified that this thing could be at their front door. And I think that's why that is a vast generalization of the decade of the 70s for horror. But there's so many movies that fit into that vein. Texas Chainsaw Massacre might be the best example, and 2 does that really well in its own unique, weird way, in a comedic way that's still very effective and still very fun. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre too. That should be on my list.
Nice. Oh,
Jen is throwing 10 out there, by the way. Jen, thank you so much for the love. We greatly appreciate it. You're saying, my friend Stephanie's 8-year-old daughter is going as Ghostface for Halloween. I love it. I would like to take credit for her choice because she loves my wall.
Woo-hoo.
Do you have a Ghostface wall? Now I need to know, Jen.
She does. She does, man. It's awesome.
Like just like masks and like memorabilia.
Just the posters. Like it's a really
Ooh.
cool. You go on her Instagram. I think it's on her Instagram, but I know she sent me the picture of it in a DM. It is really cool. I'm like, man, I got to get some of those posters too, man. Because you just,
Ooh.
as fans, you're just like, oh man, I want that on my wall too. And it's like I'm like running out of wall space and everything, but it's like it's cool.
Nice, very nice. That's awesome, Jen. I love it. Well, thank you so much for the 10, and I'm excited to see hopefully this Ghostface costume as well. I'm considering going as Ghostface as well, if I'm being completely honest. I've talked to Madison about maybe doing like a Casey Becker Ghostface thing. I don't know if she's into it, but I'm gonna coaxing her slowly but surely. We're gonna make it happen. But Jen, thank you so much for the 10. I greatly appreciate it. I love the Scream influence there.
Yes.
Erica is also making sure that everyone's following the Night Watch Zone. She sent a super chat to make sure that you get some more followers, Night. That's pretty damn cool.
Can I just say something? Well, obviously, Erica, thank you so much for the support, for Jake's channel, and that's cool. But to do that and put that there, that's really cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That was so kind of you. Wow.
We appreciate the support, Erica. Thank you for the 5. Erica rocks. Best mod. No offense to the other mods. I'm just kidding. No, you guys are all awesome. Erica, thank you for the love. Greatly appreciate it.
Val will be like, wait a minute, Jake.
Her ears are burning right now. She's like, what is going on? Hang on.
Yeah, May's out there too. It's like, uh-oh.
No, I'm just messing around. Mikey's also throwing a 10 out there. Guys, you rock. Thank you all for the support tonight. Mikey's saying the original TCM was intended to be a comedy. Butcher and work conditions turned it into a straight horror film. Bonus info, Toby Hooper wrote a book called Midnight Movie. Might be my favorite book. I'm guessing that's all about the behind the scenes of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I know was a nightmare. I have heard that before.
Oh my God, man. Look, I did an episode. I did a Why You Hate the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which got so many people saying, wait a minute, who hates it? And I'm like, bro, I'm just talking about it and talking about the ups and downs of it. I love it. But man, the temperatures were well over 100 degrees. When they were in the room for the dinner, they had no air conditioning. People were fainting, vomiting. The guy who played Grandpa was in the suit. It took hours to apply the makeup, and when they shot him, he had to do it over the course of like 10 hours in that room. It was ridiculous. They talked about just the stench, just everything. I'm just like, how did they make it through this film? It is absolutely horrific. Crazy stuff.
I mean, I think that there's that quote about, people who are creating something great rarely know it in the moment.
Yeah.
And I just know like the vibes on set were fuck this, why are we doing this, kind of vibes. And then like when the movie was a huge hit, it was like, okay, well, all that was worth it.
Yeah.
I think that's so funny to me. Like that's just such an interesting scenario. Stories like that are just always the most interesting behind the scenes stuff. So
Yep.
you got to love it. Mikey, thank you for the $10. I greatly appreciate that insight. I need to read that book. I need to order that stats.
Mhm.
I love. I've heard so many stories about that franchise, and I've never dug into the research about it. So one of these days, I got to make that happen. Val's ears were burning. Fun fact.
Uh,
Watch it, she says. No, I'm just kidding.
that's awesome.
I
You
love
guys
it.
are the best.
So much love, everybody. Appreciate you all a ton.
Yes.
I'm thinking what my next one I want to bring up is because I have a real hot take coming up, Night.
Okay.
But I'll throw this one out. This is a little less spicy, a little lower down the scale.
Okay.
But Wrong Turn 2021 is a movie I love.
Okay, now I'm gonna be honest. I haven't even seen it because I heard so many people crap on this film. I was actually planning to watch it because at one point I was going through the series, and I've seen 3 or 4 of them. I think that might be the fifth. I can't remember. I've lost track. But preach to prove me wrong because I kept hearing from people that it's not great. It's not worth it. It's not as good as the original and all that.
It is very much so not a wrong turn film. And I think that's why people might not, fans of that franchise might not like. It's not a slasher, first and foremost. Like, I think that's kind of the big turnoff for fans of that franchise. It's a totally different take on the idea, but it still kind of has a little bit of the essence of the idea of like getting lost in the woods and here's this awful thing out there, but it's a totally different kind of antagonist. I think what I really liked about it is that it hits on some really like there's a deep thinking element about it while there's also some of the scariest visuals I have seen in a modern horror movie. Dude, there is one of the like honest to God one of the scariest deaths I have seen in a movie this decade in that film.
Really?
Dude, it's so horrifying and it is so unique in the way that it's set up because it's a character that doesn't like something really awful happens to them in the beginning and then they're left alive for like the entire movie and then only to be like mercy killed later on. And it is terrifying. Like Jenny, if you know, if you've seen it, don't spoil it in the chat because it is truly one of the best parts of this movie. One of the scariest things I've ever seen in a movie. I don't understand. I don't understand how this movie could be so hated. And one other thing I'll say about it to tease to you. This movie ends with an insane one take. The credits roll over this like one take of just tension building, like tension, crazy. Oh my God, what? And then it ends with an insane, like just punch to the face, basically. So this movie does not stop until the credits stop rolling. Again,
Wow.
I just cannot praise this movie enough. It is so interesting. If you have not seen it, please put it on. I think one of the most underrated, under-talked about movies of this decade, without a doubt in my mind.
Wow, man. I mean, like, how can I not watch it after that? You just sold it. You're like vibing here. Yeah, okay, I will watch it. I mean, it was one of those things that I was going to check it out at some point, but from what I had heard from just a couple of people, I mean, they didn't say it was the worst thing ever, but they were just like, nah, I don't think you're gonna like it, bro. Blah, blah, blah. And so that watch list, it just plummeted further and further down that list for me. So yeah, I'll check it out. I'll definitely check it out.
Rock on, man. Yeah, I had to bring it up because it's just, it's good. Oh, here's some interesting ones too from Oliver throwing a $5 out there. My 3 favorite guilty pleasures: Midnight Meat Train. Okay, hang on. Night, have you seen this one?
Yes. Yep.
Another good one for sure.
It is.
Joyride and Jason X. I'm so here for you with all of these.
Wow.
We did a Jason X watch party, if you remember.
I do. Yeah, dude. The thing about Jason X, you can just have so much fun watching it with a group of buddies. Oh my God. It's so crazy and campy and cheesy. It's awesome. Joyride though, that's yeah, I enjoyed Joyride. I really did.
That's another like hidden gem, I feel like, from the thousands people don't talk about.
Yeah.
Really good movie. I don't even know. Do I want to call that a slow burn? I don't know if I want to call that, but it does have a big punch at the end that's just like, oh my God, you're on the edge of your seat with the
Yes.
tension it builds.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, no, that's a fun one. I haven't seen it in a while. That's actually one of those films I would love to revisit because it has been a while since I've seen it. And you're right, it's kind of been forgotten. And it just, just never really got talked a lot, as far as, on YouTube, any channels that I've watched or people in the community. I never hear anyone sing any praises for Joyride, but I enjoyed it.
And dude, I guess there's a bunch of sequels to this movie too that I've never seen. That's
Yeah.
another thing that I remember.
Yeah.
Someone actually gifted me like a bunch of old DVDs that they had. This is how I found out about this. And one of them was like it was a Blu-ray of Joyride 3. And I'm like, there's three of them? Like what? And I did a whole like just going down a Wikipedia article, just being like, oh my God, there's all these movies in this franchise. Like who knew? Um, I still have never seen it, but I thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah.
Oliver, thank you for the 5. Greatly appreciate that. We gotta get moving with this list. Knight, what is your next option?
The next one I think I'm gonna go with, and again, I've got a big list, so I'm trying to think of, what would get the most buzz one way or the other. I think I'm gonna go with, and this might be an easy one to throw out there. I'm gonna go with Malignant.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm gonna go with
Okay.
Malignant. And listen, let me just say this, man. The first time there are a couple of movies, especially within the last 15 years or so, that I just remember the experience of watching it because it was just that boom moment. That's
Yeah.
like, what? And Malignant was one of those films. It had come out, and I heard some buzz that was like, people were like, and some people were like, yeah, it's pretty good, James Wan, blah, blah, blah. But it's not what you expect. And so, and even the trailers, it made you feel like this is going to be your average, well, not average, but your regular James Wan fare. There's a house, there's shit going down, let's figure it out. So we're watching the movie right from the beginning. Got this old school institute that looks like it is straight out of the 70s, and I'm here for it. Lightning, all that shit. It's like the only way you can get to this place is if you're like in a rowboat. I'm loving this beginning. It's crazy. And then you have that, and then it switches the style, and we're into this really sleek, really modern looking, city where the story is taking place. And obviously, I won't say any specifics because I'm sure there's still some people that haven't seen it, but the twist, my jaw dropped.
Dude.
It was crazy. I looked over at Coriander. I'm like, are we fucking serious? And as the shit starts going, I'm like, yes, let's go. And I love this film so much. I've seen it at least 7 or 8 times easily. I'm probably lowballing it. And every time I see it, I'm like into it more and more and more. I love the homage to Giallo and,
Yeah.
and James's his signature on that. Those scenes where it's like so red and just everything is just so stylized. I love this film, and I know that there's criticisms of it. I'm not saying it's perfect by any means, but I just think it's such a cool, well done film with great style from a very gifted filmmaker. That scene where it's like a one shot overhead, when Maddie is running through the apartment from whatever, and it's overhead and it's following her. I'm just like, let's go. When the I'm trying to stay away from spoilers. When the villain is being chased by the cop and like he's friggin' doing parkour, I'm like, how did we get martial arts into this shit? What are we doing? We've got everything just thrown in the bucket, and to me, anyways, it worked. So that's my third pick.
Two things about that movie. That opening scene is so good. I stopped the movie. Like I think it was like if I'm remembering correctly, I think I watched it on HBO Max like for the first time.
Mhm.
I stopped the movie 10 minutes into it and I'm like, I gotta call people. Like I gotta get people. No, people gotta see this. This is something special. You can tell from the opening scene. This is gonna be the craziest shit you've ever seen.
Yeah.
I I called my dad. I called some of my friends. I got everybody together, and I'm like, you got to see this, dude. This is next level. I haven't even finished it. I'm 10 minutes into this. You got. I got people over the house. We made some popcorn. We watched this movie, and everyone was blown away.
Yep.
But that opening scene is so good. The reveal is one of those where it's just like, how did no one do this before? How has this not
Yeah.
been done in this way? Like, this is such
Yeah.
a visceral and insane idea that works so well. And it could only work if it was giallo too, because like
Yeah.
giallo twists, that's what they are. They're outrageous. They're borderline nonsensical, but we find a way to make it work because there's so much fun style with them.
Yep.
And that's what I love. Like Deep Red is such a great example of a twist that's like kind of it's
Yes.
outrageous. I mean, it's an outrageous twist ending, but that movie is so much fun. I don't give a I don't give
Yes.
a damn. You know, it's just one of those, oh, it's awesome.
Yes.
But I love Malignant, man. That's another criminally that would be on my top 10 list of criminally underrated films from this decade, right behind Wrong Turn 2021.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's one of those films, and when I saw it, I just couldn't understand why it didn't get more love. I mean, it did. It underperformed at the box office, but of course they were
Yeah.
expecting it to get Conjuring numbers, and it's like, bro, James is taking a swing. Don't expect that. So it didn't do great at the box office, and of course it was divisive. I remember even some of my friends, content creators were like, blah blah blah. And so when I saw it and had that reaction, I was just like, I can't understand why this isn't more well received. It's such a good film, and you just said it right there. Shout out to things like Deep Red because, man, Italian horror, giallo films, that's a whole nother universe of some really great stuff. And I've tried my best over the years to, talk about those types of things, talk about Lucio Fulci and all these great directors that have done things that is, it's foreign horror. And when people hear that, sometimes they get a little, ooh, I don't know. And I'm telling you guys right here, there is some great Italian horror. There are some great films, especially from that era, the late 70s throughout the mid 90s or so. Suspiria, Deep Red, Zombie, The Beyond, City of the Living Dead. I mean, I could keep going on and on. But anyways, there's a tangent. Malignant took that as inspiration, and James Wan spun it around and had his take on it, and I love it.
A real quick side tangent about giallo flicks too, because I have to, anytime I get a chance to talk about this, I have to bring it up. I got to see somebody who is very special in my opinion live in concert, Fabio Frizzi, who did the music for City of the Living Dead, for Zombie. That's
Yep.
what he was like doing. He was literally doing the score for Zombie over the movie live. And
Nice.
dude, I'm so not kidding when I say this was one of the best concerts, the best live music things I have ever attended in my life. I
Wow.
mean, this is an old guy. This is a guy who
Yep.
peaked in the 70s. Like, that's who we're talking about here.
Hmm.
He's up on this stage acting like he's 15 years old, just giving it his all, sweat, blood, and tears, leaving it all on the stage, going nuts, improvising on the score for Zombie. I'm just like, what am I watching right now? I was completely sober and I felt like I was tripping balls, dude. Like it was an unbelievable performance. It's something I will like literally, there's a lot of things that are going to flash before me when I die,
Yeah.
the moment I propose to my fiance. And the Fabio Frizzi concert. That's also up there. I really hope she didn't hear me say that because I'm going to be in so much trouble. But my God, I mean, the music, if nothing else from Giallo flicks, the music is phenomenal. And
Yeah.
Malignant, I feel like also has a little bit of that. The score in this flick is
Yes.
phenomenal.
Oh, it is so good, man. It just sticks with you. And you're right. So many scores from those giallo films, Italian horror, they got a lot of soul to them. Like it's haunting. And to give people a sense of something that they know that I could compare it to, that's obviously American. Think of something like Nightmare on Elm Street. I think the
Yeah.
score of Elm Street is very haunting. Ding 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 ding. dun,
but fun and
dun.
melodic, you know?
Yes.
And I think
Yes.
Giallo also has that. Yeah, totally
Yes.
agreed.
Yes, so if you guys are big into, themes like the Elm Street theme, and that's a big part of your enjoyment of horror films, there are so many Italian horror films that have that type of a vibe that really help to transport you into the world of the movie, and it's just crazy. Zombie, like I'm not gonna lie, bro. Sometimes I put Zombie on, and it's just kind of in the background, and I'm vibing out to the score. I could be, you know what I mean? It's that
This is
good.
the hot take stream. Hot take. That's my favorite horror movie OST of all time. Like, there's
Ooh.
nothing that even like I know Halloween. Like, yeah, that's
Mhm.
totally up there. Zombies, my all-time favorite.
It's awesome.
I mean, that's haunting. Oh,
Yeah.
I love
I,
it.
I I can hear it in my head right now.
Oh my god, it's my favorite theme to a horror film. Like, I don't know, ugh, so good. CJ is throwing two out there and asking a very big question here. Did you fellas do the stream to honor Craven? Knight, we actually just talked about that today.
Yeah. Yeah. We are hoping to do something within the next week. We're still kind of just getting schedules together and stuff like that because I guess we can say it. I mean, this is the kill zone, so obviously, there's certain folks that I just know we have to have on this panel, to talk about our brother, and we're gonna have other folks that are gonna come on, and we'll have some rotation and so forth. But there's multiple time zones and all these different things. But I will say this, and I haven't even really said it anywhere. Speaking with Stephen's wife, um, she's just so thankful for the outpouring of support and love, and it was emotional to be able to talk with her, but she just wanted to thank everyone for the kind words, for the support that they've shown Stephen and the community. And she said, let me know when you guys do it, and I want to watch. And I was just like, wow, this is just um, it's just amazing, and it'll be a really great way to just have some time to talk about some great memories and think about our brother that we love. So yeah, we're gonna try to get it going in about another week. So yeah,
We want to try to do him justice, so we don't want to just kind of throw it together. You know what I mean? I want this to be something we prepare for and make it something really special, celebration of life kind of vibes. You know what I mean? I don't want to
yep.
be. I just got. I think I don't know if I told you this or not, but I just got off of a film set this past weekend, and I am just
Yeah.
like I'm dead tired this week. Like, dude, I would not. I
Mhm.
don't think I would do Steven justice if we got if we got on a
Yeah,
panel right now.
right.
We literally are on a panel, so I guess I should just shut up. But point being, I want to do my fallen brother some justice, and just I
Yes.
love him to death, and I really want it to be one of our best streams. Just
Yep.
honoring the guy. So
Yep.
it,
Absolutely.
it's coming soon, and we'll have more details on it as soon as humanly possible. So.
Yep.
CJ, so much love to you, my friend. Thank you for the support, and I really hope you can make it to that stream when we do it. It'll be soon, I promise, guys. Won't
Yep.
be too much longer. Erica's also saying, throwing another two out there, saying, "Come on, guys, one more to go, and Chelsea got us to the goal, baby. Love to see it. Thank you for the love, everybody. Appreciate it a ton. I also love your profile picture, Chelsea.
Yes.
Very spooky. Love
Hmm.
it. Good vibes. Thank you for the support, everybody. Really appreciate that. Anyways, any last minute thoughts on Malignant before we move on?
No, I think, bro, I could talk about that thing for another whole hour. I don't want to keep ranting. I just love it so much, and I just hope that in time more people will come to understand the greatness of it.
Dude, out of all the movies we've talked about, I think this is the one that 10 years from now people will look back as like I can't believe that wasn't more popular. It's going to be
Mhm.
like a The Thing style movie where it just at the time didn't really hit, but later on it's going to be something massive. 100%.
Agreed.
All right. I've been waiting to drop this bombshell all night, okay? This is a movie. I'm specifically bringing this up because honestly, it's a bone that I got to pick with my other Lethal Collective members. I was very disappointed when I brought this movie up recently, and I just booze from the crowd, tomatoes being thrown at me. I was like, are we being so for real right now? I know film is subjective, but come on. Bodies, 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 baby. I love this stupid movie so much. The twist is such a middle finger, and I just, it's great. It's like, this is what I want from a murder mystery. This is a murder mystery with an attitude, and it's just like, oh, you thought it was this, you idiot. That's the whole that's the plot description. Like, honest to God, if there's a plot description of this movie, it's like, you thought this was a murder mystery, you fool. That's the movie. There you go.
Oh man, yeah. I had a feeling that it could have been that. There was 3 other movies that were in my mind, and I was just like, man, he's gonna throw one out at me. You know, Val says, "Boo, Jake." She put all those O's.
The tomatoes. I love it. I love it.
Oh my god, we should start having like a some type of animation where a tomato hits the screen and splatters. That would be hilarious.
Oh, that would have been perfect for this stream if we had something like that. Oh,
yeah,
man.
yeah. No, you know, look, it wasn't really my cup of tea. It wasn't horrible to me, you know what I'm saying? You know, again, taking swings, doing something a little bit different. It's funny because we kind of talked about that with all of these movies, and I'm sure there's tons of other ones where taking that swing works for us individually, that is, and then taking that swing totally like, what is going on? So it's just interesting to me how that can work in, you know, the perception of a person and that swing. You know, are you on board with it or not? Again, it's not anything that I thought was horrible, but I've never watched it again. So what does that say?
It's one of those movies where the characters they suck, and I think you're watching it and you're just like, man, I hate these people, and then the ending is like, here's why the characters had to suck. Like that to me, that's what I love about it. It's just like, it's a total satire. It's a total just like, you thought this was gonna be a Scream movie, nope. Idiot, you know, like I kind of like that punk rock attitude about movies just in general. Maybe a big attraction I have to like the VHS franchise that we weirdly capture here, with what presents itself as a murder mystery, but is the dumbest ending to one of these movies I think I've ever seen. But I think that's why it just stands out to me. It's just like I can't name another movie that ends like this, where it's just like, yeah, just middle fingers to the audience at the end, and I respect it. I don't know. To me, that's like, it's funny, it's outrageous, and it totally fits the vibe of these characters. Like that would I could see this happening.
You're like, yeah, this makes sense. I can co-sign on it.
Yeah. But
crazy.
I'll shut up on it because I know just tomatoes from the crowd right now on that one. It'll be my weird little movie that I can just hang out with in the corner while everybody else is just doing something else. So I'm fine with that. I'm so cool with it. Eric from the Bearded Entertainment, got to hang out with him all last weekend, which is awesome. Eric's a really good dude. Really thankful that he's hanging out with us today. Just became a YouTube member. Thank you so much for the support, my friend. Thanks for being here. And Eric and I just made a friggin' cool movie this weekend, and I'm really excited for you guys to see it sometime real soon. So I don't want to say too much about it, but it is my first, or I guess I think Eric's first dive into found footage as well. It's a found footage movie. And it's kind of it's a little bit inspired by some movies that have come out recently. I don't want to say too much, but some really fun stuff with this one. So Eric, I'm really excited to put that out. Thank you for the love. Thank you for becoming a member. And I can't wait for people to see our weird little creation that we made. So Eric and I, all I'm going to say is Eric and I got real personal for this one. There was some real man to man getting, you know, yeah.
Can I just say something? Now, knowing both of you the way I do, and there's been times I've seen both of you guys half naked. So, listen, I don't know what to expect, but I'm going to assume that it's going to be damn entertaining. I will say that.
I want to make a joke, but I don't want to ruin anything. Anyways, okay, I'm done. I'm done. Okay, but I'm excited for you to see it. Anyways. Next, we'll get on to our next pick here, my friend. What else do you got for us? What other hot takes do you have up your sleeve?
You know, okay, so I threw out Malignant because I knew that was kind of like one of those. I'm just like, dude, this really shouldn't be underrated. Let me throw in one that I know people are gonna be like, huh, what? This is just a film that I really enjoy, and it's not so much that I think people hated it, but I just don't think it got a lot of love, and I just really dig it. I'm gonna go with Drag Me to Hell, Sam
Oh, hell
Raimi.
yeah.
Um, First of all, you got Justin Long in it, and as you know, Jake, I'm a huge fan of this dude. I mean, he's literally, to me, anyways, he's a modern day Scream King. He's just always there in some of the wackiest shit, and I love his performances. I really do. He's not the lead in Drag Me to Hell, but he's the co. And I thought he was fantastic in it. Alison Lohman, that was the lead. I thought she was great in it. There's gory stuff. There's great practical work. It's creepy, and they're not afraid at the end of the film to go all the way, because you watch a movie like this and you're wondering, okay, wait a minute, where are we going to go with this? Sam wasn't afraid to go all the way at the end of the movie. If you know, you know. But it's fun. It's a fun movie, dealing with curses and stuff like that, and that stuff creeps me out, because that stuff is rooted in real life stuff, man. So it just creeps me out. You see things that you don't usually see in a horror movie happen to people in a certain age range, and I'm like, whoa, they're going there too. Okay, nobody is safe. So anyways, it's a fun film, and I think that it's one that should have some more love. It should be one of those films that when people talk about that time period of film, it should be one that's in the conversation, because it came out in 08 or oh 09. It came out in 09. So that was a period of time in horror where, you know, horror was still trying to have an identity. We're way beyond the Scream phase. And, we've got Saw, and we got Hostel, and we got Final Destination. But we also had these other films that kind of came in as a one film type of deal. And this is a good example of it. It was a lot of fun.
I have a very personal story with this movie. I saw this at the drive-in when I was 10 years old. And if you
Mm.
know the opening scene of this movie, you know that a 10-year-old boy should probably never see it.
Never.
And here I am, at basically 11:30 at night when, it's real dark outside and this terrifying thing happens to a child at the very beginning of this movie. And I'm just sitting there like horrified the whole movie. And like I don't think I slept for 2 weeks. I'm gonna be honest. Like with
Oh,
how it opens, how it ends. My God.
yep.
Oh wow, it's something else. This is a terrifying movie. I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. I haven't revisited it in my whole time doing all of this. I have not gone back to it. It's the movie I'm too terrified to watch. But
Wow.
I do wanna watch it again at some point because I know it's a masterpiece. I know what happens in it and all that. And
Mhm.
Sam Raimi just going back to his Evil Dead 2 roots a little bit at times where it kind of gets a little
Yeah.
campy and gross,
Yes.
which you gotta love that.
Yes.
But there's a lot to love about this film. Would love to revisit it sometime. I literally have not seen it since I was a little boy. That's how much it scared me.
Wow, that is awesome, man. That's definitely one that you should revisit and maybe even talk about or what have you. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it now versus when
Right.
you were a kid. Yeah.
0 out of 10 when I was a kid, by the way. Just for the record, just for the record, if you wanted to know.
Of course. That's great, man. Oh my God. Oh. But it's awesome. It's a film that I love, and it's one of those ones that I revisit every once in a while, and it never disappoints me. It's got a really good aesthetic, and the characters, and like you said, it's campy. It's got funny moments. When something happens to a particular character, there's a lot of fluids that are spraying out. Okay, and there's
Yeah.
this really funny scene in The Office, if you remember. Well, you may not remember because it was a long time ago, but and it goes. There's this character that gets sprayed, and the first thing he does is like, did it get in my mouth? And it's just funny shit like that just trips me out. But this film, it's able to balance that fun with some genuinely horrific and creepy moments. Yeah.
I think I would love the film now. I'm gonna be honest. Like just knowing where horror film, whatever. It doesn't like bug me as much as it used to.
Yeah.
I think that's why I like horror so much as an adult because I was like, horror commercial would come on the TV as a kid and I'd run in the other room, so
Yeah,
it couldn't
yeah.
hurt me, that kind of thing. Now I don't care. Like I'm just like rock and roll, baby. Let's go. So
Right. Right.
um, that taboo feeling from as a child, to now,
Yep,
I think is part of the attraction. But I
absolutely.
love that film though, and I do want to shout out Jordan out in the chat who's been just saying all night, been like, drag me to hell, throw it, come on, someone say it. So Knight, you just made Jordan so happy. I hope you know.
Hell yeah, man. I'm very happy about that. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Jake, this is definitely like if well, I might as well say it, but like I've always thought of doing a stream where, we'd have a couple people on panel and we'd have each other kind of say, if I could name a horror movie that fits you, like this is you, what would it be? This is the type of movie I would thinking about you, in my
Oh
opinion.
yeah.
Because it has all these elements. It's fun, it's out there, it's got the camp, it's got the creepy vibes, and so this is definitely one of those films. If someone said to me, would you bet $1,000,000 that Jake would love this film? You got to bet one way or the other. You can't punk out on this. You got to make the bet. I would bet you would.
I'm sure, dude, just for the things I remember about it, just like, because I do remember, I think there's a scene in a shed or something where it's Alison
Yes.
Lohman and she just gets like annihilated with like puke or something.
Yes.
Like that, I would love that. I know I would. That's my vibe with horror. I like gross stuff and horror, like rock and roll. So
Yeah.
I think I would love this film. I need to revisit it at some point. Anytime I see that cover though, like there's just an inherent instinct in me not to click on it.
It's a great cover.
It is a great cover.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Oh no, without a doubt. I just the little, the child part of me in my brain still is just like, no, not never again.
That's awesome.
I spoiled this one for myself on the thumbnail of this stream, but it's because it's a funny movie to just to defend as much as I do. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is a movie that I love this dumb movie. It's dumb. I mean, it is brain dead. One brain cell bouncing around in the brain, but I love it. I honest to God, I've seen this movie more than the original I Know What You Did Last Summer. That's how much I like it. I don't think it's a better movie, but I think it's a more fun movie. And I don't think I can even defend that point, but it is I don't think it's a good movie, but I think it has some great characters. It has a great set and location with just some really fun moments, and just like it's a great popcorn movie to put on.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when I saw it, I was so surprised that it had a different feeling, such a different feeling, I should say, from the original. And I agree with you. I think it is more fun. I think it's got a great location where it's like, okay, this would really suck if you're dealing with a killer. I still enjoyed, Jennifer Love Hewitt. I mean, look, and I talked about her when we talked about the new I Know What You Did Last Summer. I just love Jennifer Love Hewitt. I just really, really do, and I think that she was great in this as well. You got to give a shout out to Jack Black. I'm a huge Jack Black fan. I absolutely think he's just a comedic, genius in so much of what he does. But seeing him in this movie, I'll never forget the vibe, the feeling that I had. I'm like, wait a minute. There's one thing in this film. It's like, where's Waldo? There's one thing in this film that's not adding up. And I think it's pretty evident. But he was so committed to that character. Like he went all the way. So it actually was kind of fun, and it's just crazy.
It cracks me. He cracks me up, especially. He's outrageous as a weird little side character here. I think, but that's another thing that I think works for me with this one is that, like, here's my thing. I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025. It tried to do that same kind of campiness, but I just feel like it failed. Like I feel like it fell flat on its face trying to recreate those vibes. And I don't know if that was just maybe that's a kind of humor, a type of camp and cheese that is just landlocked to the late 90s, early thousands. I don't know. I really don't know what it is, but I haven't seen another movie perfectly capture that the way that something like I Still Know What You Did Last Summer does, or like Scream 2 and 3, for instance. It's so unique to the time period. It's like I think only people living in the late 90s could replicate that. This movie, that's why I love it so much. It's a very unique flavor of cheesiness that I can really get into. It's Gorgonzola, where whatever this new I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025. It's rotten blue cheese, and I don't like it as much.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. It's got its it's got its charisma, it's got its charm in its own way. And again, like you said, the location is just great. When you can be, in an island setting, or somewhere that's, like a haunted house, or a castle, or some of these different type of settings in the woods. These are just basically you're 50% there. It's like the
Yeah.
setting has already carried you halfway through the race. All you got to do is just finish it out. You know what I'm saying? And this is a movie with that type of situation, because the location is great. There were great scenes. The confrontation at the end was kind of like, I remember on the edge of my seat, I was kind of like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on? Who? What? And I was like, oh, okay, all right, I got it. You got me. It's a fun film. It really, really is. And I wish, and I said this even when the new one came out, I just wish that they were able to maintain a level to continue the right way as a franchise, because it just would have been fun to see where it could have gone. You know what I mean? But say la vie.
Yeah, it's one of those series that I think is just tough to turn into a franchise. I think it
Yeah,
has the same vibes as Scream, but like the setup is way more specific and landlocked. You know what I mean? Like it's like that Ghostface is something I feel can happen to anybody. The Fisherman is something that can only happen to those group of people. You know what I mean? That's why I feel like the new I Know You Did Last Summer just it didn't really work for me, and that's why I feel like the twist had to be something outrageous for the first sequel. Ben's son. I mean.
yeah.
Are you kidding? Like that's so dumb. But you know what? It's fun, and it leans more into the camp because it had to, and I think it does
Yes.
it with grace, which I think is another like underappreciated element of that flick.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely one of those films that, to me, even looking back on it, I think it still shines. It's one of those films. It's a timepiece from that era, and like you said, there was just a certain way that the comedy hit, and this is a great example of it. Like you said, like a Scream 3, or even Scream 2, and I think that this one also has some its own type of magic. Unfortunately, though. I just think not enough people were on board with it, which of course derailed the whole franchise itself. Even though, like you said, it was tough. It's a tough concept to continue on with, unless you change, motivations or the mythology a little bit as they went along. But yeah, I like this sequel. It's a good one.
Oh yeah, yeah, big time, man.
Yeah,
Um, so now we're at our final five right here. This is
yeah.
real exciting. Getting into the last pick. I hope this is a good one, Knight. Let us know what your final pick is. If it's not a good one, by the way, we're doing the whole stream over again. So
All right. Well, listen. See, now I've got a couple that I'm thinking of choosing from. I mean, I've got one that I think you might close the stream down. Um, and I don't know if I'm going to say that one. The other one that I was thinking of saying, I think you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's a great one. And kind of agree with me. I think I'm going to go with that one instead, and maybe at the end I'll
well,
just
oh, hang on, pause.
what?
No, I got it. Listen, we've agreed all night.
All right.
Hit me with a hot take, Knight. I want to hear it.
Okay. All right. So listen, I want to preface this, okay? Because I'm here with my boy, and this is always a special moment. I announced this once on an old friend's channel. It had to have been at least 4 years ago, and we were on a big panel. Actually, no, it was my channel. I had them on. It was like all of us, like 8 of us on screen. When I said it, everybody's like, what the hell? What? They're laughing. They're like revoking my horror card. And I'm just like, bro, I'm just being honest. I'm just telling you. All right. So this is a film that I know is not good. I know that. There's no doubt about it. Um, but when I saw it on TV as a kid, as I was kind of getting into horror, it was one of those films that I was just like, oh, yeah, it's I kind of like it, whatever, whatever. And I can still watch it today. I don't watch it often whatsoever. Now I kind of do it for kicks, when I'm joking with my buddies. All right, so you ready for this?
I'm on the edge of my seat right now.
All
I
right,
have to know.
my final film. Don't hate me. I'm being honest. Honesty gets you points in life, hopefully. My final film that I enjoy, that I know every person on this planet except me hates, is Exorcist 2, The Heretic.
Wow. That's brave. That's
I,
brave to say in
look,
front of 36 people. I'm gonna
look, man, I'm nothing if not courageous. I know, I know it's a bad film, and there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff on it. A lot of things were changed. Linda Blair has spoken about it as well. I was this close to asking her when we were at the con in September. I was this close to literally asking her about it, but I just didn't want to ruin the mood. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, but seriously, when I was a kid and I had seen the original, I was just a big fan of her, of that character, of her. And again, I was like 8 years old, people. All right. So you can't hold it against me. It was on TV and I was like, oh man, okay. And I'm watching it and it's just, it's got some visuals. The story's pretty whacked out crazy. James Earl Jones is eating insects and all this type of shit. I don't know what's going on. But I just, like I said, I didn't turn it off as a kid. And even as an adult, I've got it on DVD. It's literally like 50 feet away from me, right in on my shelf. So there it is, guys. The heart wants what it wants. Jake is speechless. He's like, I gotta get this guy off of my show.
Until now, I don't think I've ever heard somebody say they like that film. So I'm just like, I
Yeah.
don't even know. I am speechless. I don't know what to say. Here's what I will say about that movie, though.
Mhm.
Believer is worse. I don't care if that's a hot take. Believer is a worse film than Heretic. So it is objectively, in my mind, not the worst Exorcist flick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, as much as people hated it when it came out, I feel like now there is objectively a worse Exorcist flick. But
Hell yeah.
what I'll say about it is the visuals are really interesting with that flick. Like when you have Pazuzu and Reagan or whatever in like
Overlaid.
yeah, is it like a
Yeah.
dream thing? Like to me it is a very confusing film. I don't think I've even ever gotten all the way through it, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I really want to like it though, because dude, like The Exorcist is one of my all-time favorite horror movies. I mean, it is such a it is so effortlessly scary.
Yes.
For me at least, it's a movie that nowadays people are like, it's not even scary, and I'm like, you're wrong. Like, I don't know what to tell, dude. All the stuff with Reagan at the hospital.
Yes.
That is so upset. Like it's a little girl like screaming because they can't figure out what's wrong with her. Just that core concept alone is terrible. Like sure, the exorcism stuff later on scary, but man, that scene, that's what freaks me out the most about the whole film. But
Yeah.
what is also great about the original Exorcist that I think does also carry into the sequel is the fact that that movie only works because it has great, capital G, great characters. And you also have these folks coming into the next one. So I can get with that. I can get with that.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, as a kid, I just remembered really getting wrapped up in The Exorcist, and I knew that it was a famous movie, and all my, family adults in my life. Oh wow, The Exorcist, The Exorcist. So when I saw that it was on TV, the second one, I was like just so excited, and seeing Linda Blair continue as this character, a little bit older or whatever, and it was just kind of like okay, and it was just weird. There was just weird stuff in it, and I think as a kid, your mind works differently because again, James Earl Jones and all this stuff that was happening in Africa and how to defeat demons and all this type of stuff. It was just so wacky. And it was so bad in comparison to the original because the original was so grounded, so gritty, so real. It was like a documentary, and William Friedkin treated it like such. He treated it with so much respect, and so forth. And the second one totally goes off the rails, but not in a TCM2 type of way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just one of those movies that as a kid, I was just like, oh, okay. And blah, blah, blah. I knew it wasn't better than the first one, even as a kid, though. But as I've gotten older, and sometimes with buddies or my brother, we'll intentionally watch a bad movie. And there's been times when I put it on, I'm like, it's bad, and in a way, thank goodness it's bad because we get Exorcist 3 because they were like, we cannot do Exorcist 2 again. Let's get real. And we've got Exorcist 3 that is fantastic. George C. Scott, criminally underrated. I could talk about that one all night. But yeah, Exorcist 2. I mean, I don't love it, but I don't hate it, and I know that pretty much everyone else does. So that was the first film that came to my mind when you said that this is how we were going to do the show.
That's what I wanted this stream to be, though, talking about movies that like we know are universally hated, that
Mhm.
that we love, that we don't even care, like we want to defend these movies with our life. That was the pick I was looking for tonight, if I'm being honest. That's what I wanted to get out in the open.
Yeah.
Potential, cancellations of characters tonight. That's how bad I wanted to get with,
Yeah. And
with these takes.
I'm telling you, man, when I said it to my buddies, like I said, it was like 8 of us on a big panel, and I even clipped it out, as a funny little clip. Maybe I'll bring it back as a super chat clip on my channel. Maybe I'll show it to you next week. But everybody groaned. Everybody's like, "What?" And one of my buddies, the horror miser Monty G, who I love him. He's a great, great friend, great content creator. He literally went, "Oh," and then a couple years ago, he made a video basically railing on the film and making fun of me in a friend way, saying, "Yeah, my buddy Knight from the Nightwide Zone. I know he loves this film. I don't know why, but it was a hilarious video. Just two friends having fun poking at each other. But yeah, it's a film that I don't hate.
Well, it definitely needs some love because not a lot of people love it. So
It does.
at least it has somebody.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I saw this interview with Linda Blair actually not too long ago, and I was so intrigued by it because she obviously knows that it's not a good film, but she talked about a lot of the behind the scenes that was going on. The studios were, butting heads, the director butting heads. The original idea of the film was totally different. When she came on board, she was expecting it to be one way, and they changed a bunch of stuff and blah 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 things that happen. So that also kind of makes me look at it a little bit differently. It wasn't like they just said, "Yeah, let's do this crappy movie." There were dominoes that happened, with studios and the director, and disagreements and changes and rewrites and all this type of stuff. So it's an interesting film nonetheless to me. And seeing Richard Burton, an absolute acting legend, just kind of having some of these scenes where he's just like this and da 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 da. And you could tell he's just waiting for his lines to be done. But I don't know. Like I said, it just I don't know. I just have that connection with it in a weird way. I really do.
I think that's like for the same reason. I think that's kind of why I like a movie like Scream 3, where there was so many production issues and maybe the product wasn't phenomenal, but like put everything considered, they made a pretty interesting movie regardless. And I think I can see that. I can see that. I want to revisit that movie with all of that in mind, and
Yeah.
that you like it so much. So I would love to go back to that one at some point.
Yeah.
Hollywood Guy has been a member for 27 months. That's more than 2 years, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Hollywood Guy. I really appreciate your support, dude. You're saying, Jake, Knight, it's been a fun ride, and you you actually said I meant to put your name in there in a super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. It's all good. No worries, no worries. And you're saying, where is Urban Legend 3? I know that Urban Legend 2 was a dud, but hey, I can only dream, right? Dude, hot take, I love all the Urban Legend movies. I don't care. I think they're all like 3, they, for me, I rank them by release order, like I think the
Yeah.
first one's the best and so forth, so on and so forth. But I like them all. I think they're all very fun.
Yeah, yeah, no, I can agree with that. They're fun. That's another franchise, just like I know, where, I just wish they were able to kind of, stay at a certain level. Because I think the original Urban Legend, and I just talked about it like a month and a half ago or so on my channel. I think the original Urban Legend is so much fun.
Oh yeah.
I think it's so fun. The opening scene to that, to me, is still like amazing, like so underrated and amazing. And they've got great Rebecca Gayheart was off the rails in that movie. Ding, 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 ding. And I'm like, I'm here for it. Jared Leto doesn't really love it. He doesn't talk about urban legend at all, but hey, that's Jared Leto, whatever.
Was it Jared Leto that denied ever being in the film? Is that the story that I'm thinking of?
Yes,
And it's just
yes.
like, what do you mean?
Yeah, you're right.
What-
I'm
that's
watching you
you,
right
dude.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's Paul Allen if I've ever seen him. Come on now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's a weirdo. But I love the urban legend movies. They're so much fun. Rebecca Gayheart is like actually one of my favorite like spoilers, I guess. This movie's like 20
Yeah,
something years old.
right.
She's one of my favorite killers in one of these like murder mystery style Scream
Yes,
movies.
yes.
Phenomenal in this film.
Yes, I so wish that she could have continued, in horror, horror movies and also characters, because that finale, in Urban Legend just showed that she could go there, and it was very believable. She had that it factor, just like an Emma Roberts in Scream 4, where you're like,
Yeah.
holy shit, I love you. Can you just keep doing this? I mean, obviously as an actor they want to do different things, but I'm just saying you could tell that she had the capability to do other horror things, and she just didn't get a chance to do that.
Yeah, no, I'm so with you there. And again, she does pop into a ton of movies in the late '90s, but
Mhm.
what is she up to now? I'm actually kind of curious. I'd love to see her in some more
Yeah,
stuff.
I would too, man. I really, like I said, she was just amazing, and I thought that it would have been great if she could have continued a career, in the horror space or thriller space. You know what I mean? But it
Right.
just didn't happen.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Mm.
I will say you've completely upstaged me with your final pick. I thought I had a hot take here, and it's nothing compared to Exorcist 2. You blew mine out of the water. But I will throw this out there. This is a movie that I have a personal story with. I saw it very young, came out when I was basically a kid, and for whatever reason, my father thought it was a good idea to take me to this movie, which is not just super bloody and gory, but also has a grotesque amount of nudity across the whole film. This is Piranha 3D.
Oh, wow. Woohoo.
I
Okay.
listen. Here's my thing. This movie, it is one of the most just fun, dumb, turn your brain off and just watch people get eviscerated kind of flicks. I think
Yes.
it has some great practical effects, some awful VFX, and just
Yep.
a ensemble of outrageous characters. Some from the Scream franchise, by the way, who are just having a freaking blast throughout this
Yeah.
entire dumb movie, basically. But
Yep.
I love it. It is this is a once a summer watch, like an annual summer watch alongside like Jaws for me
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely fun. I remember the first time I saw it, and I'm just sitting there like, "What? Wow!" And I had a smile on my face. You're right. You just accept it. You turn your brain off, and there are films like that in horror, and obviously in other genres as well, just like action or comedy or whatever. Just watch it. Just turn your brain off. Don't overthink it. Don't try to think through it, why this is happening. Just watch it and try to have fun with it. And this is a great example of that for a horror film. It's crazy. It's bonkers crazy. But I love it too, man. I agree. I'm digging it.
Canonically, you can look at this as a sequel to Jaws because
Yeah, right.
because Richard
Dreyfuss?
Richard
Yes.
Dreyfuss in the opening scene. I like to think that's like Hooper, like what he's doing later in life. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I don't know why. Just like in my head, I like to think this is how he went out, like on a fucking rowboat somewhere. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know. So if you watch Jaws and then this movie, like that's. Honestly, it's better than most of the Jaws sequels. I think I can confidently say that.
That is true. And you've got a great cast, man. You've got
Oh my
Elizabeth
God, dude.
Shue,
Yeah.
Christopher Lloyd. Let's go back to Elizabeth Shue. I mean, like, wow. I mean, like, come on, man. Love her. She was great in this film. It was awesome.
Adam Scott is in here
Adam
in
Scott.
a random horror. He's not in a lot of horror, but when he does do horror, he's usually a standout. Like this,
Yeah.
Krampus, Severance. He's fantastic in all those. Love him. Who? Jerry O'Connell. Jerry O'Connell's in this
Yep.
movie.
Yep.
Is a super pervy like. I don't want to say the word of what his occupation is, but if you know, you know.
You know.
I love him in this role. Like if you know him as Derek from Scream 2, that is not the role he is playing here.
No, nope, that's not him. But yeah, it's a great movie. It's fun, And I wish that we could get a movie like that. Every once in a while you need to have a horror movie like that that's just turn your brain off, let's just have some fun, and but actually be entertaining in that, turn off your brain type of way. And it's been a while since we've had one like that, in my opinion.
Well, I feel like we don't get like wide release creature features that much anymore. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I feel like when they do come out, they're very rare and they do get a lot of like they make a lot of noise. Cocaine Bear, for instance.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
that was kind of it was like a flash in the pan, sure, but I mean, it was kind of there was a big stink about that movie for like a couple of months and then everyone
Yep.
forgot about it. But
Yep.
I would love more creature features where it's just, let's just have a fun fucking time watching a bear do cocaine.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, creature features to me, there's just so much that you can do with them, right? Because obviously the creature itself is a big part of the movie, and so you just have interesting characters around that, and you can hit a home run. And I think it's one of those types of films that I miss. I really do, because you're right, we don't get many of them anymore. But I love creature features. I love films where you've got animals doing some crazy shit, or a monster, or anything like that. I love those types of films.
Uh, Two things with that too. So they announced a little while ago that they were doing a Crawl 2. Did you hear about that?
Ooh. Yeah, I think I did hear about that. Like kind of like rumor mill type of stuff. Yeah. I would love to see a sequel.
So here was the premise that I heard, and I don't know, I can't even remember if this was like a rumor or something legit or whatever, but it
Mhm.
was basically Scream 6 with alligators. Like it was like the streets of New York have flooded, and here the alligators are coming out of the sewer to rip people to shreds. And like every
Ooh.
alligator movie is in the sewer. I'm sorry, I mean in the swamp.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like to take it to like big city alligator movie, I'm down. Like where is this movie? When is it happening? I need it in my life.
Right.
Uh, that and also, did you see Bambi the Reckoning?
No, I have not. Do I need to see it?
No. No. I was gonna try to make it like seem like it was this big crazy like, oh dude, creature feature of the year. It's fine. It's whatever. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it's a creature feature that came out this year. So we threw it out there. We put the name is out in the universe for this
There it
stream.
is. Hell
Okay.
yeah, man. Hell yeah.
A Hollywood guy is saying I could see Rebecca Gayheart as a Ghostface killer. She would be fantastic. Jake, did you see The Gate? First of all, yes to Rebecca Gayheart as a Ghostface. Oh my God, that would have been awesome. It's
Yes.
kind of a shame that she's already in the franchise, isn't it? Like, cause like her,
Yes.
she would be a great, like, especially today. Like, oh my God, like a comeback role, dude, that would be insane.
Yeah.
But I have not seen The Gate. Have you seen The Gate?
I saw The Gate a long time. That's an old film, if I'm not mistaken, like 84 or something like that. I don't even really remember a lot of it, but I did see it because I remember the poster for it. It's a fantastic poster, like the font where it spells out The Gate. It always caught my eye at Blockbuster. So I remember
Ooh.
seeing it. I was young though. I don't really remember too much about it though.
I don't think I've even heard of this one. If I'm being honest, that's a shame. I'm gonna have to pick this one up and watch it sometime.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Hollywood guy, hey, thank you for the 5. I greatly appreciate your support tonight. You are way too kind, way too kind. Thank you, thank you. So let me ask you this, Knight, from from your 5. What's one that you would tell the audience tonight? Like they got to see that one if they haven't seen it, or give it a second chance. Obviously, I think your favorite might be Exorcist too, but I'm just curious. What's the one that you would like be like, y'all? If you haven't seen this movie, give it a watch. Hidden gem.
Well, I think out of all the ones I gave, the one film that I just think that really just like burns my mind that people aren't more on board with is Malignant. I just feel as though it's such a well-made movie. It's entertaining, it's creative, it's a great homage to Giallo, and it's so well done. The music, the camera work, boom, 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 you name it. That's the one film that if I could change the mind of those that don't like it or were on the fence, I would. Um, Other than that, if and I know a lot of people just haven't seen Phantasm, and I just think that you're missing out. If you're a horror fan, especially a long time horror fan that enjoys movies from back then in the late 70s through the 80s, this is one you gotta watch to me, and I'll always try to sing the praises of it because not many people do. And the tall man as a villain, a horror villain, to me, he's iconic. And his power set is ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't seen it, but I mean, he's like, bro, he's up there. I mean, like, seriously, his abilities. So, um, and I love the brother story too. That's one thing I didn't mention earlier.
Yeah.
I love the brother. Of course, I have a younger brother, so maybe that spoke to me as well. But these two brothers in it, and Reggie is their best friend. They have this scene where Reggie and the older brother are just jamming out. Reggie's got his guitar, and they're just singing a little song, and it's such an innocent and cool and charming scene that you wouldn't expect in a horror film. But when I think about favorite moments in this film, that's one of those scenes that pops into my head. And what does that say? It's crazy.
Yeah. No, oh no, I 100% agree. The characters rock in this movie.
Yeah.
I think there's some questionable acting choices, throughout, but like it's one of those
Mhm.
flicks where you're just like, if you're not on board with these characters, I don't know what to tell you. Like it's got such a like I want to see what the next chapter of these characters are. Where are they going next? What's going to happen in the next one?
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I just that on top of having a super iconic villain played by Angus Scrimm here, I don't know, it rocks. It's a phenomenal movie. Give it a try.
Mm.
Not for everybody, but if it works for you, you're gonna fall in love with this one.
Yeah.
My choice is Wrong Turn 2021, and I've talked enough about it, so I'm not going to go on the tirade again. But guys, give this one a second look if you maybe were like, I want crazy cannibals out in the woods again. Dude, give this one another try. This one bangs. I don't know. It's awesome.
Nice. Nice. And I will. I'm gonna make sure I check it out sooner rather than later because like hearing you talk about it, I'm like, man, I gotta watch this thing.
I've seen it a couple times now, and it's still very effective. I'm not going to go on the rant again, but what I will say, ladies and gentlemen, is that if you're not subscribed to my good friend, the Night Watch Zone, you should go and do that because he's pretty dang awesome, and I really like his little video essay series, the Why You Hate. I love those videos; those are fun, man. Keep
man.
pumping those out because those are sick. So definitely go give my friend Night here a little subscribe, tickle that little red button for him. Sorry, I made that sound really gross, but go do it. It's pretty cool. But Night, thank you so much for joining me for the Kill Zone. We'll be live on your page next Thursday.
Yes, indeed. We'll be ready to rock and roll next Thursday, and we'll be having some fun just like tonight.
Hell yeah, man! I'm excited. New topics each Thursday. Come on by. Come to the circus of horror and all that fun stuff. I don't know where that came from, but guys, thank you so much for the love. Appreciate y'all. Everybody who supported the page tonight. So much love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're keeping the lights on here at the Killjoy Jake Studios, which is definitely not just my apartment. But anyways, so much love to you all tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Be safe. It's about to be the weekend. Don't be going out and partying, doing anything too crazy. Sorry about the Midwestern goodbye. And as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all. Peace out.